Hey everyone. So today I want to talk about something that comes up constantly in conversations I have with people, especially folks in their 30s and 40s. And it's uncomfortable because it sits right at the intersection of two things we don't like discussing: our parents and our own responsibility. Before we start, let me be clear, this isn't about blaming your parents, and it's definitely not about blaming yourself. It's about figuring out where one ends and the other begins, and why that distinction might actually set you free. Let's get into it. A while back, I received a message from someone I'll call Daniel. He's in his early 30s, and he wrote something that I think a lot of people will recognize. I can't seem to become independent. Financially, emotionally, psychologically, I just feel stuck. And the more I think about it, the angrier I get at my mother. She controlled everything. She made every decision for me, long after I should have been making them myself. And now I'm stuck in this loop. When I think this is my mom's fault, I feel rage. When I try to think this is all my fault, I feel crushed. So what's the right way to think about this? That question, what's the right way to think about this, is where healing actually begins. Here's what a lot of us believe, consciously or not. If I can just figure out whose fault this is, I'll feel better. If I can prove it was my parents, I'm off the hook. If I accept it was me, I'll finally grow up and move on. But here's the hard truth. Blame is not the same as resolution. Blame can explain your pain. It can validate it. But it cannot carry you forward. And this is where so many people get stuck, spinning between resentment and shame, waiting for one of them to magically turn into progress. Let me offer you a metaphor I use a lot. Imagine someone was kidnapped. Against their will, they were injected with drugs every day for a year. At first, they resisted. But over time, their body adapted. They became addicted. Then one day, the captor just disappears. The person is free, but the addiction remains. Now, here's the question. Who caused the addiction? Clearly, the captor. Who is responsible for recovery now? Only the person who's addicted. Both of those things can be true at the same time, and this is the part people struggle with. They say, but this isn't fair. They did this to me. They should fix it. And you're right, it's not fair. But waiting for the original cause to come back and repair, the damage doesn't stop the damage. It just extends it. There's a concept in psychology, and honestly in a lot of wisdom traditions, called the two arrows. The first arrow is the original wound. The thing that wasn't your choice. Maybe it was overcontrol, emotional enmeshment, being trained to depend instead of to choose. You didn't fire that arrow. It hit you. The second arrow is what happens next. It's the story you tell yourself afterward. This is why I can't change. Until they acknowledge what they did, I'm stuck. I'll move forward. After they apologize. The second arrow, that one's optional. But we fire it at ourselves all the time. Healing doesn't mean pretending the first arrow never happened. It means refusing to keep shooting the second one. Daniel thought he only had two options: blame his mother and feel angry, or blame himself and feel ashamed. But there's a third position, and it's the most powerful one. What happened to me was not my choice. What I do next is, this isn't self-blame. It's self-ownership. It says, I didn't cause the damage, but I'm the one who gets to repair my life. Now, some people hear this and think the answer is to cut everyone off. Go full lone wolf. Never ask for help again. Prove you don't need anyone. That's not healing, that's just reaction. Real independence isn't about rejection. It's about role clarity. Your parents are no longer responsible for your survival, and you are no longer entitled to outsource your adulthood. That's not cruelty. That's just maturity. This part gets misunderstood, so stay with me. When I talk about gratitude toward parents, people think I mean feel warm and loving and appreciative. Nope. Sometimes gratitude isn't a feeling. It's a boundary ritual. It sounds like this. You gave me life. You also gave me wounds. I acknowledge both, and now I take my life back into my own hands. Gratitude here isn't approval. It's release. You stop waiting for them to change so that you can begin. When people start thinking this way, something changes. Anger becomes information instead of identity. Shame loses its grip. Independence stops feeling like punishment. And struggle, it stops being proof of failure. It becomes part of recovery. You don't suddenly become confident overnight, but you become responsible. And responsibility is what builds confidence over time. Now, before you run off and share this with everyone you know, here's something important. This framework works for you. It doesn't work on other people. You can't hand someone this message and say, see, just take responsibility and move on. That's not empowerment, that's dismissal. And it backfires hard. If someone's not ready to hear this, forcing it on them will only make them more defensive. Healing happens when people arrive at this on their own terms, not when it's handed to them as a prescription. So use this for yourself. Share it if it resonates, but don't weaponize it. If you grew up shaped by someone else's control, your pain makes sense. Your anger makes sense. Your confusion makes sense. But your future cannot be negotiated through resentment or self-blame. Here's the sentence I want you to take with you. I may have been shaped by my parents, but I am shaped forward by my choices. That's not denial. That's freedom. And listen, this is just one perspective. It's shaped by conversations I've had, patterns I've noticed, and things that seem to help people move forward. But it's not professional therapy, and it's not a replacement for working with someone trained to help you navigate your specific situation. If you're struggling, please reach out to someone qualified. This video is meant to offer a lens, not a cure. Thanks for being here. You're not alone in this. And you're not broken. Take care.